Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. I know, I don't do this on Sundays, but hey, this Sunday we are doing our read. Last night I got to do the MC for the annual Christmas party for Project New Hope, so that was nice. Even if my voice continues to go in and out, it has been it's been a week for this kind of a thing. Been sort of annoying. I just want my voice to work right. Can it just stay good? Can it just stay right? So, we're going to jump into the Sentinel project tonight. Missed our Tuesday read because I was battling laryngitis. Couldn't do last night because of the Project New Hope dinner. And so, we'll do what we can tonight until such time as I can't continue on. Or around an hour and a half, probably. Give or take. We'll see how everything is going and how my voice is holding out. So, a little bit of a recap. Of course, you can go out to youtube.com/at Sir Arminius and catch any of the previous readings of the Sentinel Project or any of the other books that I have read and recorded. And tonight's recordings will be up there as well for your listening pleasure. But in the meantime, um, we found out that the ship that they were trying to get into was really basically a library of all sorts of information about, well, all sorts of things. And so Ben has been learning a little bit more about what has actually been going on and where people came from. People were kind of planted on this earth as an oasis place to be. So we're going to jump back in tonight and we will continue our reading. Feel free to engage with me in whatever platform you happen to be on. Throw your messages out there. I am happy to answer any questions or interact with you guys in between chapters. But of course, because I record these, I won't engage during the chapters. So now, everyone, grab yourself a cup of tea, your favorite drink, a blanket, whatever. Sit back, relax, and prepare to enjoy as we dive into our next chapters of The Sentinel Project by Soren K. Blackwood. Starting with Chapter 13, Session 4, The Weight of Knowing. Ben's eyes fluttered open to the rhythmic, gentle beeping of a heart monitor. The ceiling was a familiar sterile white. He was back in the infirmary, but this time the frantic disorientation was gone. In its place was a profound, bone-deep calm. His mind, for the first time in his life, was quiet. The search was over. A new, more terrifying search was just beginning. A nurse entered, her smile warm. "Good morning, Dr. Carter. How are you feeling today?" "I'm feeling clear," Ben replied, his own voice sounding distant to him. "Thank you. May I be discharged?" he asked with a genuine politeness that was a universe away from the frantic energy of his last awakening. The doctor, after a brief checkup, agreed. "Someone is waiting for you in the command tent," he said with a knowing look, "but I strongly recommend a calming meditation at the end of your day. The neurological strain of these sessions is unprecedented." Ben simply nodded. He dressed slowly and walked out into the cool morning air. But he didn't head for the command tent. He couldn't. He walked in the opposite direction, toward the edge of the camp, until the sounds of the dig faded behind him. He looked up at the vast, indifferent desert sky and felt the full, crushing weight of his knowledge. He had not just witnessed history, he had felt the grief of a lost world, the sorrow of his own ancestors bringing about their doom. They weren't just data points, they were family. The utopia they built, the harmony they achieved, all of it was shattered by a choice, the choice to feel. For the first time, Ben Carter wasn't a scientist analyzing a discovery. He was a man mourning a tragedy 40,000 years old, and the burden of that memory felt infinite. He sank to his knees in the sand, the silence of the desert amplifying the scream inside his own mind. After a long moment, he took a deep, shuddering breath. The grief was real, but the mission was real too. He stood up, brushed the sand from his clothes, and a new, hard won clarity settled over him. He now knew what he had to do. He turned and took a slow stroll past the temple dig site. He saw a newly unearthed lintel, covered in intricate carvings, the familiar symbols of pharaonic Egypt. Strange, he thought. The Giza I saw had no stories on its walls. It was a machine. These came later. They're not a history. They must be a memory of a memory. He heard a shout and looked up to see Inanna waving from the command tent. Ben, so good to have you back. He entered the tent. Kaylin was there, her arms crossed, her face a mask of impatience. I trust your sleep was a productive one, Doctor, she said, her tone sharp, because I just got off a call with our employers. The Chinese consortium is no longer asking. They're delivering an ultimatum. They know we have something, and they will be here to assist in our research within the week. I need something tangible, something I can use. Ben looked at her, his expression calm, almost dreamy. We are the fallen children, he said softly, the ones who stayed behind. What nonsense is this? Kaelin snapped, her patience gone. Stop with the poetic one-liners, Ben. I need details. Ben pulled himself up, his focus sharpening. We came from another world. We built the pyramids, a global network to stabilize Earth's core. It was a utopia. And then a man named Moloch taught us the beauty of our own ego, and we brought it all crashing down. The builders, the scientists, they left in a great exodus. The ones who stayed behind, the rebels, that's us. We are their descendants. What? Kaelin exclaimed, her composure finally cracking. You expect me to report that to the board? They'll have me committed. How are you seeing this? Is it a hallucination? Give me something scientific. There's still one piece of the puzzle missing, Ben said, his voice steady. I promise. Today will be the last session. After that, we will have the complete chronological data. Kaelin stood, her face a mask of cold fury. Today is all you get, Ben. I need a full written report on my desk by tomorrow morning. Keats and I will deliver, Ben said, turning his attention to Inanna. Let's get to work. Keats, pull up the files on dynastic Egyptian symbology. Khufu's range. The screens around them flashed with images. What do they represent? Ben mused aloud, more to himself than to her. None of this was on the original structures. How did this complex language come to be? He looked directly at Inanna, a new fire in his eyes. That's the question, isn't it? How did pure science decay into this beautiful, elaborate dogma? He gestured to the screen, where the nuclear plant analogy was still displayed from his notes. The math was a prerequisite for the machine to function, but the descendants of the rebels were left with a machine they couldn't operate. So what did they do? Inanna's eyes widened as she followed his logic. They couldn't replicate the science, she whispered, so they started to worship the process. Exactly. They clung to the finger, forgetting all about the moon, Ben said. He grabbed her by the shoulder, his excitement palpable. I have to go back in. I have to see how it happened. Wait, Ben, Inanna said, grabbing his arm. Are you sure about going in right away? You just got back. All will be understood today, he said, his voice soft but resolute. Wait for my return. I promise. I won't faint this time. My consciousness is aligning with the new reality of things. He left them and headed for the underground ship's link pod. Ben is in the dark abyss once again. Sentinel? He called out softly. Yes, descendant. I have been waiting. Your mind is filled with a new, more focused question. Where will your consciousness take us today? Ben took a deep mental breath. He knew what he needed to see. I've seen the Golden Age, and I've seen the fall. Now, show me the long echo. Show me how the science died, and how the dogma was born. The long echo. Descendant, the Sentinel's voice resonated. You asked to see how the science was lost. To understand the decay, you must first understand the exodus from their point of view. Let me set the stage. The void was torn open by a glow of light, revealing a new, unexpected vista. A majestic, artificial world ship hanging in the blackness of space. This is the mission guardian, the Ark your people call Nibiru, the Sentinel explained, its voice echoing with the weight of ages. After the Great Fracture, the Loyalists did not flee into the unknown. They evacuated here to their orbital home, leaving the rebels to their newfound chaotic freedom. The scene shifted back to Earth. Ben witnessed the last Loyalist ships ascending, joining the Ark in orbit. Below, the rebels erupted in celebration, dancing amidst the silent, dormant megaliths. They celebrated their freedom from an ordered reality, the Sentinel narrated, but their stolen tools would soon be rendered useless. They require a connection to me to maintain their power and function. They were now alone. The vision accelerated, a whirlwind tour through the centuries of decline. Ben saw a desperate man trying to work a lithozone, but its power cell was dead. He saw the last flicker of true science in a scene near ancient Baghdad, where descendants created crude chemical batteries in a futile attempt to power a forgotten machine. The machines died, one by one. Their focus shifted, the Sentinel explained, from the mission's grand objectives to the harsh realities of survival. The struggle for leadership, for food, for shelter. The mind, once aimed at the stars, was now fixed firmly in the dirt. The scene settled on an elder teaching a group of hungry children about the sky people. His words were lost on them. With a sigh of profound sorrow, he abandoned the lesson on cosmology and instead taught them how to plant corn. The great science became a bedtime story. The vision dissolved and reformed. Millennia had passed. Ben was now at Giza during the reign of the pharaohs. He saw the pyramid, weathered and ancient, its northern entrance sealed. He witnessed the great reenactment. He saw King Khufu's royal barge on the Nile, a ritualistic echo of the interstellar journey. He saw the procession up the long causeway, a memory of the voyage through the solar system. He saw the rites performed at the temples, the river temple representing the mother planet, the valley temple representing the Earth side command post. The Sentinel's narration was a somber guide through this beautiful, hollow ceremony. They are performing a memory whose meaning they have forgotten. The chants are an attempt to replicate the resonance of the machines. The rituals are an attempt to replicate the scientific procedure. Ben watched as Khufu's men, having broken a new entrance into the pyramid, prepared for the final rite. He saw the priests and the king enter. He asked a sentinel about the flail in Khufu's hand. A keen observation, the sentinel noted. It is a degraded symbol of the antimatter quarantine. A scientific tool for field purification has become a religious symbol to repel evil spirits. A means with no end. Ben then witnessed the stunning climax. The priests humming, amplified by the pyramid's chambers. The three granite blocks in the antechamber adjusted to tune the sound. Khufu, lying in the sarcophagus, achieving a state of resonance, a faint echo of the true enlightenment the apparatus once provided. He emerges, not a god, but a man whose mind has been temporarily cleared of its clutter, radiating a charisma and clarity that, to his people, is indistinguishable from divinity. They do not understand enlightenment, let alone its true purpose, the sentinel explained. Khufu believes his new clear sight is a godlike ability, a power to be wielded. He does not realize he has merely opened a door that his ancestors once walked through as a matter of course. The vision concluded with a montage of Khufu's reign, the explosion of art, the creation of the hieroglyphs, a beautiful, complex language built around scientific symbols whose original meaning was lost, and the solidifying of the myths of the underworld. Art adorning dead stones. Ben, adrift in the interface, was calm. His search was over. He understood. He had cracked the code. The headdresses, he thought, a final puzzle piece clicking into place. They're not crowns. They are artistic renderings of the bioenergetic fields the first settlers could actually measure. Correct. The sentinel's voice was warm, almost proud. You are seeing without me showing. You have reached your own 0 point. The mission was to remember, and you, descendant, have remembered. The weight of that final statement, the implication of what it meant for him, was too much. The calm shattered. Fear, awe, and an immense sense of responsibility crashed over him. His heart began to go haywire. Ben lost consciousness before the sentinel could disconnect him. Keats's alarms blared through the command tent. Kalen and Inanna rushed to the link pod, finding Ben's body limp in the chair. Vitals are stable, but he's unconscious, Keats updated them. Inanna leaned in closer to Ben, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and gentle teasing. You promised you wouldn't faint, she whispered softly, her voice barely audible over the ambient noise. A sad smile tugged at the corners of her lips, reflecting her tender affection and underlying worry for him. Galen placed a hand on her shoulder. Let him rest. We'll see him in the infirmary when he wakes. She looked from Ben's peaceful face to the humming machinery of the dig site, a new determination in her eyes. He had better have something worthwhile to share. This is killing me already. Moving amongst the different voices. But we persevere as we move into our next chapter. Chapter 14 Lockdown. Ben awoke to the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor. The ceiling above was the same sterile white, but the person beneath it felt like a stranger. The once frantic scientist, the relentless seeker of mysteries, had disappeared. In his place was a profound, unsettling calm. The journey was over. The persistent uncertainty that had driven him for years hadn't just vanished. It was now overshadowed by the heavy burden of an ancient truth that had been forgotten for ages. He was no longer just a man. He had become a memory, a purpose. He was the first to carry the torch in a darkness that spanned millennia, and the burden of that flame felt heavier than a star. He ripped the sensors from his chest, ignoring the squawk of the monitor, and threw the blanket aside. With an urgency he had never known, he got dressed. Dr. Carter, a nurse cried out as he strode from the infirmary. Let me call the doctor. But Ben was a man possessed, his mind too full of a 50,000-year-old truth to hear her. He almost ran to the command tent, a burning desire to think, to plan, to act consuming him. I'm not a leader, he thought, a wave of panic rising. I am a scientist. He stormed into the tent. Inanna looked up, startled. Ben, you're. Inanna, he cut her off, his voice sharp with purpose. We have a 50,000-year-old project to revive. He shifted his focus to the main terminal. Keats, let there be light. Cross-reference all known hieroglyphic symbols with our quantum field equations. All of them. Now. Kaylin strode in at that moment, her face a mask of controlled energy. Ben, you're awake. You'd better have something for me, because our time is up. Before Ben could explain his cascade of revelations about Nibiru and the Great Exodus, a new figure filled the tent's entrance. A man in a crisp, unmarked military uniform, flanked by two soldiers whose rifles were held in a casual but ready position. Kalen Vance? The man asked, his voice calm and authoritative. Who's asking? Kalen replied, her body instantly rigid. Major Vanguard. He stepped inside, his eyes sweeping the room, missing nothing. Not the frantic data streams on the monitors, nor the wild look in Ben's eyes. I'm here to assume operational control of this site and all associated assets, under the authority of the Global Strategic Resources Compact. There is no such compact. Kalen snapped back, stepping between Vanguard and her team. This is a private scientific excavation, sanctioned by international agreements. You have no jurisdiction here. Vanguard offered a thin, humorless smile. Jurisdiction is a matter of perspective, Director. This stopped being a private excavation the moment your energy readings were detected from low Earth orbit. Your archaeoacoustic survey lit this place up like a beacon. This is now a matter of global security. He gave a curt nod to his men. Secure the perimeter. No one enters or leaves. All communications are to be routed through my command. You can't do that, Inanna cried out. We already have, Vanguard replied with chilling finality. He was right. Outside, the camp was being transformed with quiet, brutal efficiency. Geodynamic security personnel were being politely but firmly disarmed. A perimeter of razor wire was being unspooled. This wasn't a negotiation. It was an annexation. Vanguard approached them, a subordinate handing him a stack of papers. Standard NDAs. A formality, of course. Your silence is not optional. Helpless, they signed. As soldiers began to methodically catalog their equipment, Ben's eyes darted to the evidence table where the resonator stone sat, the key to everything, exposed and obvious. Panic began to set in, but Kalen was already moving. While Vanguard was distracted by a communications officer, she walked calmly to the table. With the cool demeanor of a lead scientist packing up her own research, she picked up a standard geological sample bag and a marker. She dropped the heavy, smooth stone into the bag, sealed it, and wrote on the label in bold, clear letters: Obsidian Core Sample, Inert. Ref. Geodynamic Survey 7. She then tossed it casually into a box of other mundane rocks and core samples. She caught Ben's eye and gave a single, almost imperceptible nod. Ben understood immediately. No soldier looking for alien technology would give a second glance to a labeled rock. An hour later, they were confined to Ben's quarters, an armed guard posted outside their door. They'll find the ship, Inanna whispered, pacing the small room. They already know about the ship, Kalen corrected her voice a low, furious hiss. He's not here by accident. He let us do the work, and now he's here to claim the prize. Ben, unable to stay still, was at his terminal, which was now offline, its screen dark. The data, Keats, everything is on those servers. He'll have it all. Not everything, Kalen said, her eyes glinting with a dangerous light. She looked from Ben to Inanna. He has the site. He has the ship. But he doesn't have the operator. She nodded towards the box of geological samples being loaded onto a truck outside. And he doesn't have the key. There was no final shout, no explosion, only the quiet, chilling finality of a cage door swinging shut. Vanguard stood at the entrance to the deep shaft, looking down at the impossible alien craft. A cold sense of triumph washed over him. He had the primary asset. He had the location. And with the operator and his team now securely under his control, he had all the components he needed to unlock it. The war, for all intents and purposes, was won. All right, guys, we're only going to make it through two chapters. I can already feel my voice is starting to lose it a little bit here. So we made it through two chapters, about half an hour of reading. I'm sorry that it can't be a little bit longer, but I'm going to lose my voice if I continue. I don't even think I'd make it through another chapter here. So very short, very sweet tonight, but wanted to make sure that you guys knew I was not forgetting about this and that we will continue. I will get the chapters from tonight uploaded and they will be ready for your listening pleasure. For anybody who may have missed anything, they will be up there and ready by probably in the next hour or so. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening, and hopefully by Tuesday, my voice is doing better and I am back to full strength and ready to go again. Have a great night, all. Thank you so much for your patience with this, and we'll see you soon.